Hi and welcome to another gaming video. And in today's video I want to talk about the future of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. And what has sparked this video is a recent announcement that the 2025 Call of Duty, which we don't know what's going to be called, but the Call of Duty that's going to be released in 2025 is going to be available on the previous gen console. So it's going to be available on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. But looking forward, we know that Call of Duty for 2026, yet again, we don't know what it's going to be called, won't be. So 2025 is going to be the last year that the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One is going to see a Call of Duty release. Now, I was quite surprised that we saw Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which was released last year on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, and it didn't run fantastically. You could tell that it was a sort of cut down to run on a previous gen console. So how is Call of Duty 2025, which is sort of predicted to be another Black Ops, how is that going to run on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One? We really are sort of pushing the limits of what these consoles can do. The PS4 was released in 2013. It's really had a great run, and it's, well, the PlayStation 5 is the current console. We should really be focusing on that. We're 5 years into this gen of consoles, and we're still pummeling out big name titles for the previous gen. It hasn't helped. It's a bit of an oddity because if they'd stopped making games for the PS4, then I think the PS5 would have sold more, and we would have sort of jumped forward a bit more than we have. But they didn't. So has that held back the PS5, or is it because there really isn't a huge generational jump between the PS4 and the PS5? I think that is more of it. So the games that they developed for the PS5 are quite capable in a cut down version of running on the PS4. We have in the last few generations of consoles just seen that jump shorten. So the PS5 is a fantastic console. If you've got a PS5 only game, it looks stunning and it plays amazingly. But I don't think it's much different to the PlayStation 4, and that is why we are still seeing big name titles sort of 5 years into the PlayStation 5's life. We're already starting to talk about the PlayStation 6, and yet the 4 is still there. Sony have recently announced that their subscription service is going to cut down a lot for PS4. It's going to be more geared towards PS5, which it should be. But yeah, so Call of Duty 2025, whatever that is, will be available on the PS4 and the Xbox One, but Call of Duty 2026 won't be. And I think that is a good thing. We really need to stop making games for the PS4. As much as I love and admire the PS4, we need to move on. We are 5 years into this gen of console, which is over half of its sort of shelf life, and we are now starting to talk about the next gen. We cannot have the PS4 and the Xbox One still hanging around while the PlayStation 6 is released. It needs to go. Maybe make the PS6 backward compatible with the 4 and the 5. That would do absolute wonders for Sony. I can see Microsoft doing the same thing because they do maintain quite a lot of backward compatibility. So whatever follows the Xbox Series X, I think it's going to be backwards compatible, and it would be a fantastic thing. But we do need to just stop making PS4 games. Give this console, make it finish. It's it. 2025, I think, is going to be the sort of last year we see big titles, with 2026 really sort of pushing the PS5, the PS5 Pro, the Xbox Series X as this generation of consoles. And this should have happened a few years ago. Never before have we had big name titles released so far for the previous gen into the current gen. You always get that sort of year or so of crossover, but it's always been, here's our new console, these are the games you can play, and you need that to play it. We haven't seen that with the PS4 and the PS5. I think really we shouldn't be seeing Call of Duty on the PS4 in 2025, but that is going to happen by the looks of it. We're going to have to wait to 2026 to get this current gen console exclusive versions of Call of Duty. And on a side note, will the Switch 2 see some of these Call of Duty games. It's supposed to be a big beast. It's going to be the next gen. So yeah, there's a possibility there that the Switch 2 might see Call of Duty 2025 or at least 2026. I don't think the current Switch has, because we've got no Call of Duty. But PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, 2025 is going to be the final year for them. There's always going to be a few little indie games that creep through in 2026, 2027 maybe. But I think the final nail is in the coffin this year. 2025 is going to be the final big year for the PS4 and the Xbox One. And I do actually think that's a good thing. We've had a good run. We need to move on. We need to take advantage of the hardware that's in the PS5, even if it isn't a massive jump from the PS4, and push forward towards sort of PlayStation 6. So yeah, Call of Duty this year, but not next year. Link, like, subscribe, enjoy.